Hello, I'm Casey,
And I'm Fallon.
and this is
Render the
Darkness. Ooh. So, for your fun fact, I'm actually going to give you one that my daughter gave me yesterday morning. And she said, and I didn't Google this, so if I'm wrong, sorry. But according to my 14-year-old daughter, that lobsters have urine nasals or nostrils, that they pee in their urine nostrils to communicate with each other.
Ew.
I'm gonna. That was the first thing she said to me when she woke up yesterday morning. So let me Google this real quick to make sure that I'm giving you accurate facts. Hold on. Lobster urine nostrils. Let's see. Lobsters urinate out of small nozzles located under their eyes, which are part of their face. They use urine to communicate with each other during courtship and combat. So I guess that is an accurate fact.
Okay. Nasty.
Nasty lobsters. Some of you people eat those.
Yeah.
Some of you people out there be eating them nozzles. Think about that. Not me, I'm allergic, thank God. I've never had a urine nozzle in my life.
I've had lobster, but I've never had one of those because, just eat the tail.
Mm-mm. Yeah, but some people be eating the heads.
Yeah.
Some people eat the heads. I've seen it.
Each is to their own.
Just so you know, if you do decide to make the decision to eat a lobster head, you probably eaten a urine nozzle. Fun fact from my 14-year-old.
All right.
Literally the first thing she said to me yesterday, she come downstairs and she walked right up to me, and that was the first thing that came out of her mouth. I was like, okay. And then she tried to give me the fun fact about the ribbon eel, and I was like, tell me you don't watch my podcast without telling me you don't watch my podcast.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so now that we got that interesting little tidbit out of the way there, just kind of, yeah. This episode I titled "4 Cryptids and a Ghost Pig?" ? But yeah, it's from Arkansas. I was able to get a lot of information from a book called Ozark Tales of Ghost Spirits, Hauntings, and Monsters by W.C. Jameson. There's a lot of interesting stories and tales in the book. I will link it in the show notes if you want to read more. There's a lot more in it.
I want to read it.
It's
I'm
really
interested.
Good. It's really good.
And this is our second case out of Arkansas. Just kidding. This is our first case out of Arkansas in our 50 state series. This is our first one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had this. That's bad because I'm like, oh.
No, this is our first one.
Yeah, first
out
one.
of Arkansas for our 50 state series. So,
yes.
Not too late to get your suggestions in.
Yeah.
We know you got them. We know you got stories from states.
You can do it.
You can do it. Not sponsored. Sorry. So fun, though.
It is. Okay, so the first one that we are going to talk about is the Heber Springs Water Panther.
Ooh, this one's coming at you on a recommendation from Mahebe.
Yeah, it was a long time ago whenever he said something about it.
Well, like when we first started this podcast, he was like, please do an episode on the Water Panther. And we were like, no. And then we did the 50 State Series. And we're like, well, I guess.
Okay, so when the Native American people were living on the land on the Little Red River, which is close to what is now known as Heber Springs, they would talk of a creature that would torment their village, kill their horses, and even stalk and kill people of the village. The Native Americans gave this creature the name Water Panther, who they thought was a spirit monster and was said to have had been in the area for many years, living in the limestone caves. And they saw that the creature was partly human, walks upright, it had a slight hump in the middle of its shoulders, a head and neck that bulged outward, and its whole body was covered in black hair. Some people said that the face looked a lot like a cat's face. Some said it looked more reptile-like, and some would say that it was more like a fish. But all would claim that it was remarkably fast.
Like a panther.
Yes, like a panther.
And for people who aren't familiar with the area, and I don't know if this has anything to do with the what ended up being the name of the water panther, but for anybody who is unfamiliar with the area, Heber Springs, their mascot is the panther, is a panther.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's just a coincidence, or I don't know if that had anything to do with the water panther or the name of the water panther, or vice versa. But that is the mascot for Heber Springs.
Huh. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
Bonus fun fact.
Right. Now, the Native Americans also believed that to see it was a bad omen and could bring a curse to that person. Now, trappers that come into the area would say that they would hear its cries throughout the night, saying it sounded like a cross between a panther and the screams of Satan. Now, it said that they tried to hunt the creature, but their bullets didn't do anything to it, and they would find their traps had been sprung, but the animal or the creature was strong enough to escape it. Some of the trappers would mysteriously die, and people thought that it was a water panther because when the bodies were found, they had been torn apart. Now, throughout the years, as more people moved into the area, some would still see the creature. The people that had been killed, again, were thought to have been the water panther's doing, and some of the bodies that were found had been partially eaten. Now, in 1960, when the dam was built, making the Greers Ferry Lake, the water of the Little Red River and others were backed up, and the area that the panther had been seen started to decrease in sightings and then just stopped. Now, sightings of the creature would start again in 1966 at an alarming rate. Instead of being in the woods like it used to be, now people were seeing it swimming in the lake. Some people claim to have seen it coming out of or going into a cave that was on the north shore that was partially underwater. Now, for many years, a lot of the drownings that happened in the lake were said to have been because of the panther because the bodies were never found. Now, there is an account in 1970 from a scuba diver who claimed to have had a run-in with the creature close to an underwater cave. Now, he claimed that the creature had a man-like form and was covered in fur, and the creature went toward him at a very fast speed, even though it didn't have any fins or flippers, ripping his mask off. The diver was said to have had thrashed around so much that it scared the creature away. Now, he was able to make it to safety with some cuts and bruises as proof to his story. Some say that to this day they can still hear the screams of the water panther.
Ooh. I wonder if the sightings, I'm trying to figure out what year. Okay, so you know the town Shiloh that was whenever they did the dam or whatever, and they had to move that town that flooded. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I think the town's name was Shiloh. I'm trying to figure out if the year that happened is around the same time that they had an uptick in the sightings of the water panther. Because maybe it resided like in that town and then it was flushed out, and that's why, because it was trying to find like a new location or is driven out of its original.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see what year.
Okay.
If it's in the 60s, because I feel like it probably was in that time frame.
Let's see. You're gonna get to hear me while she is googling.
Oh, you can keep going. I'll just interrupt you.
Oh. Well. Okay.
I'll just jump right on in there.
Okay. Well, the next one we're going to talk about is the White River Monster. Now, in the Ozark Mountains, there's a river called the White River that is in Newport. Now, they say that there's a strange creature that roams the area, and for many years, the Native American people knew of this creature and seemed to coexist for a long time. Modern days, the creature has been named the White River Monster.
Okay, so to go back to the water panther real quick, the Greers Ferry Dam was built between 1959 and 1962, and the town of Shiloh was flooded out in 1962.
Okay.
Sorry.
So that's kind of like whenever it kind of stopped,
and
then it just.
Yeah.
Well, then.
Sorry, that didn't really have any association probably, but I was just curious if it did have some kind of an association, because I knew it was around that time frame that town had flooded out.
Yeah, it may very well have. Okay, so to the White River Monster, there was a French explorer by the name Father Jacques Marquette, who wrote about an encounter that he had had with the creature in the 1700s. They talked about a very large fish that he called monstrous that hit their canoe so hard that they had to go into the trees to prevent it from doing it again. But he didn't really give any kind of good details on what it looked like. There is a Quapaw tribe that has a story of the creature. They say that it has been seen many times over the years and that it was so big it was thought to be an island on many occasions. They also say that it would stay in the area for a few days, then leave, and sometimes it wouldn't be seen again for years. They did start to notice a pattern on when it would come back, which would be about 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Now, there is a story during the war between the states that talks about a Confederate boat that was carrying, some say, over $1 million in gold coins.
Oh, wow.
Now, they were going upstream, headed to Batesville, where the gold would be given to a military encampment. And after they had gone by Newport, the boat got a massive blow to the bow. Thinking that they were under attack, the captain went to go see how bad the damage was. When he got there, the boat was struck again, causing a huge hole in the hull. Now, the boat started to sink, and the men looked on in disbelief as they all stared at a very large creature. Now, it said that the creature was angry and was tossing and turning in the water, and the boat eventually sank, taking all the gold with it and the lives of 24 men.
Oh, wow.
Now, one story in 1966 from three men talks about an encounter with something that they couldn't identify. The men went to set out some trout lines to try and catch a lot of catfish after the sun went down, and one of the men was pointing at the water as the boat drifted. One of the men heard a loud splash that sounded like someone had fallen into the water. So he steered the boat towards the direction of the sound, and that's when they seen the creature. They claimed that it was gray and had hair all over its body, and one of the men said it looked right at them, and the head and face looked like a huge monkey.
Oh.
Now, the creature continued to look at them for a while and then just left.
Huh.
Now, the men also said that the tail reminded them of what a mermaid's tail would look like. The creature would continue to be seen a lot throughout the years and is now known as Whitey.
Okay. So it was kind of like a sea ape?
Yeah, I guess so. It's strange.
Yeah, that's different. You hear a whole lot of about a whole lot of like hairy creatures being under water.
Yeah. Which, I mean, the water panther was described the same way. Having
Oh yeah,
lots of
that's
black
true.
hair and it was swimming in the water. It's interesting. All right, so what we're going to talk about next is called The Little People.
Oh, I was excited for this one. I don't know about it, but she had mentioned she was doing one on it, and I didn't even know we had little.
So, in the Ozark Mountains, there is a common boundary of Arkansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma where there's supposedly a tribe of ancient, terrifying creatures that call the place home. These creatures were named the Little People by the Native Americans because they would only grow to a few feet tall. Now, even though they were small, it is said that they are responsible for a lot of attacks, tormenting the Native Americans and early settlers, and for supposedly killing and eating livestock and sometimes people. There are some tribes who think that the little people are spirits that will help people and do kind things. Others think that they are lucky, and they are others who think that they are demons that want to do nothing but commit evil acts and kill. Now, there are some stories that talk about the little people saying that they had families and tribes as well that lived in the woods, some in caves, and some lived in the thorns and the undergrowth. Now, many of the tribes people describe them as being 2.5 to 3 feet tall, dark brown skin that had the look and feel of tanned leather. Some are covered from head to toe in fine reddish hair, while others only have a small amount of hair on their bodies. Now, the hair would be about 4 inches long. They run around completely naked and travel in a group of 6 or 7. And there have also been reports of seeing many that were albino. Now, they are said to have razor sharp teeth, large heads, and have wicked glaring eyes. They are also said to be squirrel-like, being able to run through trees and brush very quickly, and are said to be able to take down a full-grown deer with ease.
Okay.
Now, there is a story that tells of a hunting group leaving to go out hunting, and they left one of the people behind with the horses to watch over them. When the group came back the next day, their friend and a horse were killed and had been partially eaten. Now,
Oh wow.
yeah. Now, their friend was able to kill one of the little people, and it was taken from village to village for years. Now, it's said that the mummified remains are being kept in an attic of someone who lives in Delaware County, Oklahoma.
Huh.
Now, a reporter was able to track down the owner of the remains in 1950 and was allowed to take pictures of it, but for some reason, the pictures or the article was never published.
Huh. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that.
Trying to keep that one a secret, eh?
Yeah, they may be.
Hmm.
Now, there are still reports today of people seeing the little people in the woods near Arkansas, Missouri, and the Oklahoma border. A lot of the people don't really believe the stories, but the ones who have had the actual encounters, their stories always remain the same.
Okay.
Like by detail, never wavers.
Huh.
Alright, so the next one is called The Creature with No Face.
Ooh.
Yeah, this one kind of gave me some goosey pimples a couple times. Okay, so one story about this creature is in the mid 1960s. People traveling on the Arkansas State Highway 62 and the back roads report seeing a strange creature running through the woods and across the roads. Many of the sightings happen at night, and most say that the creature is the size of a boy. They say it's always naked and his body is covered in reddish hair.
Did you say the size of a boy?
Yeah.
Well, which boy?
You know, like a boy. You know, a child.
They vary in size.
I don't know. They didn't give me,
Not all boys are the same size.
I can't say it right now.
Okay. It's like, well, that's very vague.
Okay, so sometimes it will run across the road and in front of people, and other times it will stand in the middle of the road, causing people to stop. Now, some of the people to see the creature were able to get close enough to be able to describe what it looked like. Here comes how tall they are. They claim that it was 5 feet, 6 inches tall, and it had no clothes on and was covered in hair.
All right, well, I'm just going to say, you're little, a boy. The 5'6"
I can't really see it
is just so you know, she was like, a boy. 5'6" is like,
I was trying to keep you in suspense. I didn't want to give it out yet.
That's like a teen or a grown-ass man. I know grown people who are 5'6".
Yeah, that's about, a little taller than me.
That ain't a boy.
I didn't want to give it away yet. God. Okay.
All right, we're getting back to Fallon's description of a giant-ass boy.
Okay, so the most horrific part of the description was about its face, though. People say that it had no face. Just a small hole where the mouth... I don't know why. I don't know why it smelled like that. Oh my god. Oh. Let's redo that. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sure you don't want to sit there and watch us cry. Okay. Let's redo that part.
Are you sure? I think you should stick with the hole.
Oh, man. All right. Go back to what people say. Okay. People say that it had no face. Every time I go to do it, I can't do it right.
Why'd you say it like that?
Oh, no, oh my god. Okay. I'm gonna try to do it again. People say that it had no face, just a small hole where the mouth should have been. Okay. And others say that there are no facial features at all. And it's terrible because there's another part in here where it says. I'm gonna try not to mess that part up. Okay. Now, a farmer that was hauling produce claimed to have had an encounter with the creature. He was going down Highway 21. Sorry. close to 10 p.m. when he noticed something was running beside his truck in the ditch alongside the road. Now, he claimed that it was the size of a boy and was covered in hair. Now, it kept up with him for a while, then went back into the woods. He also noticed that the creature didn't have a face, and he called it the Wild Boy of the Ozarks, and that became its name for a while. Now, another incident occurred close to a road, sorry, that was located off State Road 2. Oh my gosh. That whole thing just messed me completely up.
No, I think the fact that you actually typed ride instead of road is what's messing you up.
Okay. Now, the road was located off of State Road 221 north of the town. Now, a boy and a girl in their teens were at a location known for being favored by high school kids. Now, they were apart for about 20 minutes when they heard something scratching on the back window. They both looked behind them to see a terrifying creature looking back at them. I just can't stop. It's just going to be the way it is. It's good. Now, they claimed the face was covered in hair, and the only thing that they could see was a small dark hole dripping saliva where the mouth was, and it let out a horrifying low moan. Yeah, that's part where I was just like, ugh.
Yeah, but see, they described it as having hair on its face, and everybody else described it as having no features at all.
Yeah.
So that was a difference of description.
Now, the boy freaked out and put the car in reverse, and that's when the creature jumped up on top of the vehicle and started to scratch the roof. The boy shifted into first gear, and the creature fell onto the hood of the car and started beating on the windshield. Eventually, he was able to shake the creature off the vehicle, and they seen in the rearview mirror that it was thrashing about as if it was really mad that they had got away. Now, there is another story that a woman named Hattie had a baby boy in her home, and the baby was born with physical deformities, and some of the neighbors said that he wasn't normal. Now, the baby had reddish hair all over its body and had no face. Now, Hattie was afraid that her son would be treated terribly, so she kept him home, not letting him go outside to be seen by anyone. Now, when he got older, he was allowed to leave occasionally, but people were afraid of him, and sometimes Hattie had to chain him to the crib to keep him from leaving the house. Some people say that all he wanted was human contact, and others said that he was dangerous, killing livestock and drinking their blood. Now, when Hattie passed away, deputies would find a crib that looked like someone or something was living in it, but the creature was never seen after that.
So was by the time she died, was the creature grown, or was it still a baby?
Well, I think it was like grown. I guess she was just using the crib to keep it.
Oh, to chain it?
Yeah.
Did she have the crib chained to a wall?
I don't know if they gave me that information, but I'm assuming it had to have been.
You didn't go into the house? You didn't look?
I just peeked through the window. I didn't see. I just assumed, it was bolted.
You didn't go investigate this? No. I have questions.
Oh, okay. So this one, like I said, I read it. It's great.
It's great.
I had to do it. That's why I said.
Okay.
This one is called Raw Head and Bloody Bones, a Ghost Pig, ?
Okay. All right.
Like I said,
I'm intrigued.
It's great. All right, so like I said, this is a tale. It's pretty crazy. I don't know if it's technically a ghost story, so I'll let you decide on that. But I had to do this because it sounded way too insane not to do it. So the story goes like this. There was a woman who lived in the mountains by herself, except for a huge razorback. She was thought to be a witch by many people because they would sometimes see her at a cauldron cooking up potions. Now, a lot of the people thought that she was able to make potions that would cure a number of issues. They would go to her and tell her their problems, and she would give them something, never asking for payment. People also thought that she could make someone vanish just by saying a few words. Now, they were definitely afraid of her, but they were more afraid of her hog that followed her everywhere. When people would come to get potions, the hog would glare at them, grunting and snarling the whole time. Now, the old woman really cared for the animal and made sure it had plenty to eat and was always happy. Now, it said that two young boys, aged 12 and 10, were going hunting. The boys heard of the woman and her hog, but they'd never actually seen them. So they decided to sneak to her home to see if they could catch a glimpse. Now, when they got there, they seen her cooking one of her potions, and she gave some of it to the hog. Now, when the hog ate it, it got up on its back legs and walked and talked like a person.
Okay.
Now, when the weather was getting cooler, a man came to the area and made a home for his wife and children. Now he needed to find food for the winter for his family, so he went to the woods looking for an animal to hunt. Now, because he was new to the area, he didn't know about the old woman. And after being in the woods for a while, he spotted a hog. He found a good place to shoot, and he killed it. And he strung the hog up to butcher it, and he had removed all the meat. After he was done, he placed the raw skull on top of a pile of bloody bones. The man then got onto his mule and headed for home.
Okay.
Now, when midnight rolled around, the raw, bloody skull moved back and forth, stopped for a moment, and then rolled off the bones. When the skull hit the track of the mule, it looked in the direction of its bones and yelled, rise up, old bloody bones. Now, the bones started to move all around and eventually all came together and joined the skull.
Okay.
Now, a couple of hours later, the hog had made its way to the home of the hunter, who was sleeping inside with his family. Now, the man was woken by a weird sound outside, so he got up and looked out the window, and to his horror, he's seen the raw head and bloody bones of the razorback. Now, when the hog seen the man who had taken his life, it let out a terrible scream and began running around the house over and over and over. Sometime later, the sounds had stopped, but suddenly reappeared on the roof. Now, the man heard noises coming from the chimney, so he looked inside and seen 2 yellow eyes. When the man was about to step back, the raw head and bloody bones dashed down the chimney and was now standing in front of the man.
Okay.
Now, it quickly grabbed the man and in his jaws and ran out of the door.
That's an angry razorback.
Yeah. His wife and children could hear his screams as the hog ran down the road. Now, the next morning, the family went outside and seen that the mule had been killed, and all that remained was a pile of bloody bones that were laying on the ground with the hog's raw, bloody skull sitting on top. The family gathered what they could and fled the area, and the man, well, he was never seen again. Now, they say that sometimes people who are traveling on that road may see the skeleton of a hog running down the road, and some say that it wears the clothes of the hunter that killed him.
Well, that man picked the wrong pig to kill, didn't he?
Yeah. I don't know if
the
hog was great.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if you can really consider it to be, a ghost
I'm not
story.
sure what kind of story that is, to be honest.
But, ghost pig?
The ghost. I can envision the ghost pig, and I don't want to say seems cool, but physically it seems cool. Personality-wise, he had some real anger issues.
Well, I mean, he got killed.
Yeah, but the mule didn't kill him.
No.
What did he kill the mule for? Anger.
Yeah.
Angry.
He was upset. But, I mean, at least he didn't, do anything to the wife and kids.
That's because they fled before he could get back.
No, he was there.
Oh, well, I know, but he was, back down.
Yeah. He was just a skull.
Yeah.
But,
he lost his body somewhere along the way.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to his bones, but...
That was very interesting.
I thought it was cool. I was like,
That's what you thought?
I was like, that's great. I have to do it. I gotta do it.
Oh, awesome.
But, like I said in
very
that book...
interesting stories. This is our Ghosts/Cryptids of Arkansas.
Yeah.
So...
And like I said, that book there's a lot more in there if you want to read more about it. Like I said, I'm going to link it in the show notes. A lot of great stories in it.
Yeah, for sure. Also, we already did do a case for Arkansas, a Ghosts of Arkansas case. So for anybody that hasn't heard that, we did that well before we decided we were going to do the 50 States series.
Yes.
So if you're interested in any more Ghosts of Arkansas, we do another case on that. So you can go to pretty much anywhere you can find our podcast and find that video as well.
Yeah, that one was a two-parter.
But I will also say that, not to overshadow this case by any means, but I am very excited. We are very excited for our next episode that's coming out. It's kind of a bonus episode that we're throwing in there. It is not necessarily part of our 50 State series, but we had the esteemed pleasure of sitting down and doing an interview with Maxim Purick, who, if you don't know, is an incredible author. He wrote the book, The Lost Tribes of Bigfoot, and we were able to sit down and kind of pick his brain about the content of that book and his thoughts behind the material that you can find in the book. So we hope that you guys will please join us for that. That episode is going to be coming out on Tuesday, so we will kind of have something in between this Arkansas case and our next Arkansas cases. But it is an awesome interview. He's an incredible guy, very educated, very just informative, and it was a lot of fun, and we really appreciate him coming on the show and doing that interview with us. We're really excited to release it, so hopefully you guys will join us in watching it.
You'll like it.
You will like it. It was a really, really fun interview. So just wanted to plug that in there real quick and let you guys know that we were going to jump back the Arkansas cases for just for this bonus episode, because this bonus episode is awesome and we don't want to wait to release it. We want to get it out there as soon as possible.
Super excited.
Yay. But other than that, thank you guys for spending time with us. As always, we appreciate all of your support. If you like what we're doing and you like our content, please give us a like, a subscribe, a share, follow, whatever, depending on whatever site you're on, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. We appreciate any and all support we can get in any of the platforms and domains.
Very much.
Yeah. Also, sorry that we laughed so much in this episode. We don't know if we're going to keep that in or not, so if you see a glitch in there, it's because we cut out the laughing and we're not educated enough on editing to not have a glitch. But we'll probably keep it in, so if we do keep it in, sorry for the laughing.
Yeah. You might have to, fast forward
for a minute, because we lost it a couple times in this episode. We'll probably keep it in. Most likely, because we just prefer all natural.
Yeah, it's just,
we just prefer it. It is what it is.
See our flaws, which I have more of apparently when it comes to these cases than she does.
I don't know if that's true, but we're getting better every time, we hope, and we hope you guys are enjoying the content. So, other than that, we are
Render the Darkness.
Bye. What are we doing? Are we going? Are we staying?